Good morning and a happy Friday morning to everybody. All right, we have a few more interesting tidbits, little tiny bits about the Colombian tour. So I've put them all together into this one video. Yeah, there's a lot. Let's just cover it, shall we? Let's go. To start with, the dancing and that kiss. Now, people are saying it was a passionate kiss. There was nothing passionate about that kiss. But when I tell you that this was all done for the cameras and that there was a professional dancer there, I mean what I say. This is my opinion, but I believe there was. This was a complete and utter setup. You see the cameras there, right and left. Everything was done for the cameras. It wasn't long after all of this came up that supposedly an old college person, an old college classmate of Megan's, released pictures from a supposed salsa class she took way back when. No pictures of her actually dancing, just a picture of them standing around. And this is supposed to be proof of salsa lessons. Hey, all right. So let me go back and show you what I'm talking about when I say this was all set up and there was a professional dancer. To start with, here's the kiss, which was done. And if you look to the left, there's the camera. Now, here's the professional dancer. Harry is already dancing with somebody when the woman in red grabs Megan and hands her off. Do not kid yourself. That is a professional dancer. Yes, a professional dancer, because the idea is to put her in front of the camera and show that she has moves. Now wait, we're not done yet. She then gets handed off to the next dancer who does some more interesting moves. See the camera to the left? Remember, this is all on camera. Here's the guy. He just passed in front of us with the camera. That was him. He goes around to the left. There he is. And now it's time to pass her off. Now watch what happens when she gets passed off to this guy. He does fancy schmancy moves. And then she's flirting with him. She puts her hand on the side of his face. Get it? Look at us. We're so fabulous. And you see the small children there. So when the dancing was over, they took the pictures. And that's when this very inappropriate picture of this boy resting his head on Megan's breast was taken. I don't think it even occurred to Megan to say to him, this is really not appropriate. Please stand up straight. Because I think he would have. But somehow I think she enjoys this. But typical Megan, she just thought it was sweet. She's got something with these young kids. I don't know what it is with these young boys. We've seen it before. And then this picture, though, got me because do you guys happen to see Harry? Yeah, there he is, way in the back. All right, let's move on to the Spanish now. Now I want to move on to the Spanish talking. Megan had the chance to meet Miss Colombia. And she's talking to Megan in Spanish. And all Megan can say back is, gracias, gracias, gracias. No conversation. Listen to this. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's all she said over and over and over again. And let me tell you why. Do you guys remember this part where Meghan Markle took out her earpiece to speak in Spanish? But I told you that when she did it, it sounded very slow and halting, and I couldn't figure out how that was happening, like what was going on. Well, come to find out, according to Neil Sean, she had a smaller earpiece in her other ear feeding her what to say. Those are completely invisible. I have no doubt that's true. All right, next up, when Harry and Meghan were at the Zapata National Center for the Arts in Bogota, they watched a tribal dance show. Now, Harry usually sits with his arm on the back of the chair with Meghan. I think this is just something he does, but he put his arm on the back of the chair to this woman who they're calling his translator, and people were commenting how Harry was going to get it from Meghan when they got home. But the truth of the matter is the translator wasn't doing anything wrong. She completely acted with decorum and professionalism. Her demeanor was very professional and friendly. And, you know, it's just ridiculous that anybody would be mad at Harry because he decided to rest his arm on the back of the chair. But after all, we are talking about the Sussex squad. They are known to be very irrational and just, quite frankly, mean. Now, do I think Meghan noticed what was going on? Oh, yes. I'm sure Meghan did notice what was going on, but I'm sure Meghan decided that she just wasn't going to get into this while she was on a global stage and people had cameras on them. She was just going to act like nothing wrong was happening. You guys know what I'm talking about. But I would be a liar if I didn't say that I felt bad for this woman, because I'm sure that she got plenty of hate mail afterwards, because that's how the Sussex Squad works. A big thank you to Moan on Twitter for this one. Oh my God. Harry and Isabel, his wife of almost 20 years, are attending the wedding of his son Archie, and as always, they are keeping their distance from Archie's mother, the infamous Meghan Markle. Harry was briefly married to the Real Housewives reality star show in the early 2020s. Here's the next thing that happened. Do you guys remember the picture I showed you of Meghan with massive pit stains? And everybody's talking about how she got up and she walked across the floor to adjust the fan for the other guests. She wasn't adjusting it for the other guests, you guys. She was adjusting it for herself because she's dressed. Oh my God, you guys, it was so hot and humid there, and she didn't dress appropriately for the weather. That's what it comes down to. Next up, of course, we don't know how Harry and Meghan got to Colombia and back, but I think we know that had it been on a commercial jet, there'd be pictures, there'd be information. So it's pretty obvious they flew there and back on another private jet. Yes, the Eco Warriors. All right. Next up, these pictures, I want to go back and just look at them. I showed you this previously in a video where the guy is talking to Meghan and Harry's just being so ignored that he just goes on eating his food because he's so detached. Because after all, this is the kind of banquet he's used to. All right, next up, thank you to Meghan's mole for this. I don't know if this is a filter or if she was wearing contacts, but in these pictures, her eyes are the same color as Catherine's. They're green. It's like somebody either used a filter or she's wearing contact lenses because she doesn't have green eyes. She has brown eyes. A thank you to Genevieve's on Twitter for this. The bump on the back of her head. Maybe that's how she's getting such thick hair. She's wearing like a fake hair extension on the back of her head. Now here she is later on talking, and all I can say about this picture is Harry just does not look well to me. Somebody needs to get this man some help. Now, we're going to go back to this. Remember this event that I showed you earlier where she ran up and hugged him, and then the vice president saw it and turned around, but Harry immediately shook the guy's hand, and then the vice president went over to block. You guys remember this? Because I think the vice president had enough of Meghan by then. Well, this showed up online. Look at Meghan and this guy exchanging eye views. He's looking at her. She's looking at him repeatedly. Definitely some weird vibes going back and forth between them. And I think the vice president was able to tell it. And that's why she got so upset with Meghan and didn't want Meghan anywhere near her man. All right, next up, I had to bring this up. One of the reasons Harry and Meghan were supposedly in Colombia was to promote child safety online against predators. But when in a discussion panel, I've told you before, Meghan has no training or education, offered the advice of, as my grandmother told me, if you can't say anything nice, don't say it. And this basically shows how little the two of them really know. And I've said that to you guys before. All right, now we have a few more items. A blind item came out. This was interesting, saying that 4 months ago, somebody else visited Colombia, and the security bill was 5% of what Harry and Meghan demanded. I have no problem believing that. All right, next up, do you guys remember when Harry and Meghan did Vax Live? And I even said to you guys, they've never shown proof that neither they nor their kids got the vaccine. Well, a blind item came out basically saying that it doesn't look like Archie is listed as having had the vaccine. Wow, another hypocrisy at its best. And finally, this is not about Colombia, but an article came out saying that Meghan is never going to return to Britain because of Harry's warning about the knife and the acid attack. That is not why they're returning. They're not returning. They're not returning because the UK hate them. She is absolutely petrified that she'll be booed. She doesn't like the way the royal family treated her because she didn't get what she wanted. That's why they're not returning, and for no other reason. All right, you guys know what to do. Put those comments down, hit the like and the subscribe button, as well as the all notification bell. Go down into the description box and find the link to video number 2 and follow me over. Let's go.